Hi everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to Create Every Day in April. Today is April 5th, 2021. So we are on day 5. We have a few more days to go, right? And so I decided to go ahead and put the binder rings on the book. Now the problem is I was going for pink, but like this one right here, it doesn't want to open properly, and I am not about to be, fighting with it. So we may end up pulling out a different color just so it works. Yeah, I don't have like super strong upper body strength, but goodness. So we're just gonna put that there. We're gonna throw this thing in a garbage. And we're gonna go ahead and put these clips on. Now I like that they're kind of like fading off, because over time I'm assuming that the color will come off, which is cool in the aspect of, it's a C theme. Is it a C theme? I guess it is now, because I'm about to see it up today. It's some C stuff on here, and you know what happens over time with salt, sea salt, from the ocean or in general, things do fade. So we got that one. And when I was speaking on the binder rings yesterday, I was saying that with the binder rings, you can make your book as thick or as loose as you want, because the rings will hang on to it and do whatever it needs to do. And this is what I was talking about. All right, so we got all the pages bound in here with the rings, and this is how it would look, whenever we're fiddling around with it. And so I did get some stamps. I'm not sure if you remember when I showed you my new stamping system, not new stamping system, my new storage thing. I took a lot of my stamps off the wood mount, a lot of my rubber stamps off the wood mount, and I just put them onto this. Now I'll tell you that this system does work, but it is a but, not a big but it's a sizable but. I feel like the paper is too flimsy to actually hold it properly like I wanted to. So I haven't finished taking off my wood mount stamps yet, 50 years later, right? So what I plan on doing is just getting a sturdier cardstock. So I think this is 65 pound. I'm probably gonna need 110 or like a little bit thicker cardstock. And then I'm not gonna redo these, but in the future, that's what I will be doing. Because I do feel like this is a lot easier and better than having 20 different wood mounts in boxes and crates and things like that, because it takes up so much space. Like the only thing I have now that's purposefully wood mounted is my house mouse stamps. So I pulled out this little mermaid lady, because Serena on the front is like a sea goddess, right? So I feel like we can put her on a few things, just a few images, not a whole bunch, but we'll probably do that later. So we're going to go ahead and turn the page like this. And I like these bubbles. I want to put these bubbles on now though, so let's go ahead and do that. And the good thing about these is when they lose their sticky, you can just reapply it with the aliens, tack it over and over and over and over and over and over, right? So we're going to go ahead and do this. I have considered downsizing more of my stamps than I have already downsized. So we're going to put that right here. So this is the only issue with rubber stamps, right? You can't see. That looks good. This is supposed to be like that, just so you know. I didn't mess it up. I didn't ink the bottom all the way, but it's supposed to be kind of funny looking. So we're going to go ahead and just work on this. Each page we're going to work on, and we're going to get this thing over and done with. Let's see. We could put no worries here. This Mermaid Coast is a really, really pretty paper pad. And I think I only have like one more full pack, which is kind of sad. I'm going to put Collect Seashells on here because he has a seashell. You can't see it, but you will in a few seconds, right? See if I can't get this whole thing in a frame. All right, so we're going to put Collect Seashells. Can I put seashells at the bottom? I sure can. So let's go ahead, get out some scissors and some tape. So this is the fun part, right? Like once you finish constructing, let's see, let's do this. Yeah, let's just do that. Once you finish constructing your project, the decorating is the fun part because you have everything that you know that you want to use. You have it all pulled out and everything's going to work out, right? Not me. I don't really have everything pulled out. I kind of just go from how I see it and want it to be, which is always fun and interesting. Always fun and interesting. You know, I'm not sure what's up with customer service lately in the stores lately. It's a bit horrible lately. And we're gonna put Let's Go on Vacation right here. So this is a little book that the recipient can do whatever they want to with it, but I am going to help them out a small bit. I am going to be placing things where they can't do anything at all, but right. I meant to pull out some more paper, but I didn't want to go through that process again of recutting, redoing it, or whatever. One day I'm going to get wise and just have everything proper already. One day. These last 4 days, right? Not count today, haven't been those days. That's okay. All right. These colors go well together too. Let's Go on Vacation. Now, I'm not sure about the Let's Go on Vacation part, but, you know, we'll see. All right, so leave that alone. We're going to leave all these pages alone in general. So do I want to put something here? I do want to put something here. I'm going to put the mermaid here. And that's all. Before I stamp out, I'm not looking for a pristine image, but just a decent silhouette would be fine for me. She came out great. She looks wonderful. Wonderful. And we're just going to put this Explorer right here. And I am going to use some tape. I'm only going to use some tape on 2 spots. Yep, we'll definitely be moving on to something else tomorrow. And I'm going to try not to do a project that's 4 or 5 days. We'll see. I have something in mind already, so we'll see. Explore. Sid the Science Kid. He doesn't come on anymore, but he's on Netflix. They say explore, investigate, discover. And it just made me think of him. All right. So now let's turn the page. I'm going to put something in here so we know that they know that it's a pocket. Okay. And I do want to put a something down here. Let's see. Beach time, I guess, will go here. We'll use some glue. Because we got a lot of stuff going on right here. If that bows, then the paper may bow, but the back shouldn't bow because we have, what, 2 or 3 pieces on there. All right, so remember yesterday we You're here with me. You're included in the boo-boo. I made that boo-boo. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it look intentional, but not really, right? Just holding this a little bit. And then I'm going to fold over this piece. And it don't have to be perfect. Just a little neat though, right? So we're going to put one up here as well. And yes, I know it's no hole there. But we're going to give it a uniform look as if it were planned. Some projects, you know, you can recover from. I think sometimes we get so wrapped up into, oh my goodness, I made a mistake. It's ugly. And no one knows it until we say, oh, I made a mistake. Like, I think a lot of times we're just like so fascinated with perfection when it comes to paper crafting, and it'll never happen. So I'm going to take this top strip right here. The reason why I say perfection in paper crafting will never happen is even the people that we think, and I always say this, even the people that we think are like pristine crafters, they have boo-boos too. Trust me. Some of them even have said, I make mistakes. Just because it don't look like it, I make mistakes. And a lot of times those mistakes turn out to be great, amazing creations that we never know are boo-boos. And then sometimes people make boo-boos and they throw them in the trash, you know. So we're using this one because it has the map on there, and the back of our book has a map as well. Now the inside page, the divider page, I am not going to adjust. I'm going to leave it as is, and I'll show you why. I thought that was a map page, but it's script. Ah, c'est la vie. Maybe I'll put something right over that edge to cover that portion up. I didn't tell the entire audience about my cat. This was 2 weeks now, 2 weeks ago now. Yep, I think it was 2 weeks ago now. He had something funny on his butt, right? By his butt. And I asked my husband to look at it. And he looked at it. He was like, oh, it's nothing, you know. And then later, because it looked like it was a blood, it looked like a hematoma. A hematoma is just pooling of blood in one area, right? So it looked like a hematoma to me. And I started freaking out. And I was like, you know, I need to call the vet. So this was on Friday. The vet was closed. So Saturday morning, I called the vet. And I was like, you know, this is what's going on with my cat, blah, blah, blah. I said, should I get a cone? And I was going to get some antiseptic ointment because I thought it was like a rash, not a rash, like a scratch that he was licking. And they were like, yeah, you can deploy the cone. I was like, what does that mean, deploy the cone? In my head, deploying means something totally different than what she was telling me. She's like, you can go buy the cone, but I can't recommend that you do this, and we'll make an appointment for you on Monday. I was like, okay, fine. So I go out, buy the cone, and they don't, I'm assuming San Antonio is more of a dog lover because they did not have a lot of cones anywhere. So let's get back to our page. So I get the cone, I find an antiseptic, I come home, and I go to lift his hind legs to put the ointment on, right? And he has a hole in his, not his butt, because he already has a hole in his butt, right? But right below, it's a hole there. And I'm like, oh Lord, I start freaking out. Like, did he bump into something? So I'm not going to fix this hole because you can barely see it. And I don't want to take away from it. If I was really, really worried about it, I could go and find a piece and just cut over that and glue it down. But I'm not too concerned about it. I'm okay with it. But we have another one up here, don't we? Because I jacked this up real good. okay with that one too. I think I can put something on there if I'm really concerned about it. So anyway, so this is Saturday, right? Saturday, this happens. And they're like, oh, well, we can put you on the waiting list. And I'm like, okay. And then because, you know, you're not here, even though restrictions have been lifted, people only seem to be concerned about going out to eat, not really all the other restrictions. You know, they worry about the hairdresser and things like that. So anyway, I said, okay, you know, put me on the list, whatever, you know. So she said, okay, it's going to be a 6-hour wait, right? So I'm like, okay, this is at 1:30. So I'm like, at 7:30, I should be hearing a phone call from these people telling me to bring the cat in. No. They said, oh, no, we had 3 more emergency cases, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be a 3-hour wait, an additional 3-hour wait. And I'm thinking, well, this is an emergency. I'm going to take this piece right here. I'm like, this is an emergency. My cat has a hole in his butt. In his body, I should say, right? So they're like, now I've been up all day. I call back. And when I say all day, I wake up at like 3:30 in the morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock. The latest I ever wake up is like 6, right? So, this is gonna do 6 inches. I'm like, can I just, because I'm sleepy at this time, and then mind you, I have to take my little guy with me because Dad was gone to work. So I'm like, can I just get on the list for tomorrow? She's like, yeah, you can get on the list for tomorrow, and then it'll be easier because, you know, it'll be morning time, not that many emergencies, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. So she's like, you know, just call back at 6. So I can't sleep the whole night because I'm worried about the cat, right? I'm worried that something's going to happen to him, like he could die. You know, that's what I'm worried about. So I call it like 5 something because she said 6. So I'm calling it 5 something, these people, right? I think we're going to use Dream. Why not? I think we're going to use Dream on this side, though. Yeah, I think that's going to work for us. And then I don't want to fussy cut this, but I think I am going to fussy cut that. So anyway, I call up, and she's like, are you outside right now? I'm like, no, the lady I spoke to yesterday said to call, and I'll get on the list. She's like, oh, well, bring him in and we'll see him. I'm like, okay, so it's a 30-minute drive from where I live to the emergency hospital for animals, right? So I go over there and I call, I say I'm outside waiting. And it's like, okay. And they're supposed to come to you. She's like, can you come meet me in the foyer? And I'm like, sure, you know, no problem, blah, blah. So I tell her everything that's going on. And she said, well, can you bring the cat? Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm going to put it right here. And I think I'm going to put this behind it. So I bring him in to her, and she's like, okay, you know, blah, blah, blah. So then the doctor called. Dr. Davis is his name, right? And he's like, this is Dr. Davis, you know, tell me what's going on with your cat, blah, blah, blah. So I told him the same story I just told her. That's the bad thing about accidents, right? Or problems. Whenever something's wrong, you have to repeat the thing a million times. A million times, it seems like. So I tell him what's going on. He's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. He's like, well, you know, this is what, you know, he's like, well, we think he had an anal gland that got infected and it popped open or whatever. Right? And at this point, I'm like, if you knew what the heck happened, why you ask me what I thought happened? Because I thought he had a scratch. And he just licked it, because, you know, it had that rough sandpaper tongue. And he licked it open. But, you know, the whole anal gland sac, blah, 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 works. His theory worked for me. I was like, okay, so what, you know, what's the process? How are we going to... He said, well, we're going to sedate him. And I'm like, oh, crap. When he says sedate, I'm like, this is going to be some money. And now, don't get me wrong. I care about the cat. I love him. You know, if something bad was happening to him, I would definitely take care of him. And when I adopted him from the SPCA, I took on those responsibilities as a pet owner. So no, I'm not about to say I would put him on the side of the street, you know, any of that crazy stuff that humans tend to do when they buy pets and they don't want anymore. So no, that's not my that wasn't my goal, my intention, anything like that. I'm gonna turn this into a tag because that is what's speaking to me. So let me do that real quick. All right, so I cut them all down. It's a 12 sheet of paper by, I don't know what the length is. It doesn't matter. And then I just took my ruler, found the center part, and I am going to, hopefully, one of them is a little bit off, of course, right? And I'm going to cut it, right? Let's do it this way. All right. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an already existing tag like that. Is this going to be enough, though, to cut this little hole out that they gave me for free? It should be, yeah. All right, so anyway, you know, he tells me to, I'm like, so he says sedation. I'm like, okay, great. Because the last time his regular vet said sedation, these people, the quote they gave me was expensive, and they wanted to sedate him to draw blood. Because it was like, oh, he's, oh, that's not enough. Crap, it's going to be enough, though. You know, he was hissing at me or whatever. I'm like, he has claws and he has a teeth. That's what animals do. Like, if you have teeth in your mouth, you'll bite somebody too. And she was like, yeah, we have to sedate him because blah, blah, blah. And now his primary doctor, I think he retired. He had Parkinson's disease, which he was such a great doctor for us. I'm going to cut this down a little bit more. All right, so I just cut it down a little bit more, and I'm just going to use this piece. And you'll see, if you don't know how to make your own tags, which I didn't until I saw this lady do it. You just turn it over, and you should have an equal tag on that side as well. Right? There you go. I just have a cutting machine, a die that cuts tags, which is sometimes easier, less stressing to do. But in this instance, we're doing it this way because it's more fun, right? So anyway, his primary doctor, who's new, wanted to charge me like $1,000-something to get a blood draw. I'm like, if he keeps doing whatever he's doing, then we'll visit it. But he didn't do it, or he hasn't done it that often to actually warrant getting a new, any more blood drawn or poked or whatever until this incident happened. All right, there we go. You see, that's cool. I like that a lot. Now we're going to work on this page. We have a few more pages. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up with you all. And then we're going to stick a fork in it, right? And then we'll be done with this project. Might as well go ahead and finish it out together. So, you know, I'm worried about the price, right? Because I'm like, that's not in the budget, the backup plan, any of that stuff. Not in the foreseeable future, extra amount of money for the cat, right? So they come back and they give me a quote, and the quote is like $500-something, $600-something. I'm like, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, right? So I call the big roommate. I'm like, hey, dude, this is what's going on, right? And not only on top of that, they want me to sign a DNR paperwork. I'm like, DNR for the cat? And the thing is, it's like, you know, if he dies while we're sedating him, do you want us to revive him? And I'm like, do I want them to revive him? I start freaking out, right? I'm just going to let this dry because I don't want to turn the page. So I start freaking out because I don't want to make that decision by myself. So I call a big roommate and I'm like, hey, listen, they want to sedate Nicholas and this is the price. He's like, okay, yeah, do it, you know. I said, but they also want to know if we want to have him resuscitated if he And so this is his defense. In his sleeping stupor, because he was asleep, and I had called him like 50,000 times. He was like, no. And I was like, right? Pearls clutched. So at this point, I kind of freak out, right? I'm like, oh, if he dies, I'm going to be super sad. You know, I'm going through all of these stages of grief, and the cat probably even hadn't been sedated at the point. But I was like, you know, he's older. He is old in cat years. We've had him since 2012. But I feel like he still has plenty of time to drive me bananas, right? Plenty of time to drive me bananas. So, you know, I'm freaking out, and then they don't call me, and then they call me and they tell me the procedure was good. I was like, oh, is he okay? You know, I'm freaking out because that's what I do, right? Let's just leave it at that. That's what I do. And they're like, yeah, you know, he did it. He did well. He's still a little groggy. I was going to put this hammock on here, but I think I'm not going to put the hammock. But I do have these other little beachy things. And then we're going to turn the page. Got that glued down. Because, you know, you sit around a campfire on the beach, right? A fire on the beach. And I think for our last page, let's go ahead and do something weird. We're going to put this little frame. No, I don't always do good with those frames. So let's not do that. It doesn't really get any better than this. Let's just do that one. It doesn't really get any better than this. So, you know, I've freaked my freak or whatever. And so they was like, oh yeah, he should be ready at 12. She said 4 hours. So they started doing the procedure at like 8. So I was like around 12. She's like, yeah. I said, okay, good. Because, you know, I don't want to be out. I want the cat to be home, blah, 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 blah. So, 12 o'clock rolls around. It's a mall close to the place. So I leave. I go to the mall because I'm trying to get them some time because they haven't called me and said, come get your cat yet. Right? So I call. I said, you know, I call once I'm outside the door. I'm like, I'm here to pick up Nicholas. Blah, blah. They say, oh yeah, he's still in recovery. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just taking out these pieces right on my desk so I could see what I want to use, if anything. We're going to put one more thing on here, and then we will really, really, really be done. I'm going to use this little crab because why not, right? I think he's cute, and this is ephemera. It doesn't say sticker, so just putting some glue on the back of there. But sometimes they say ephemera and they mean stickers. I don't know why they do that. So I didn't get a chance to pick him up at that time. I ended up picking up later on, and the customer service I received from the doctor was great. The customer service from the technicians and stuff needs work. Of course, a doctor does something different than the technicians. The technicians are actually dealing with the people. But when I called and I said I'm ready to pick up my cat, I was like, I'm calling about my cat. They was like, oh, it's going to be a 6-hour wait. I was like, to pick him up? And they was like, oh, hold on. And then so I got a text message saying, can you meet me back in the foyer? And she's like, no, I'm going to just need you to pay. I was like, I already paid. She said, you already paid? I was like, yes, ma'am, I already paid. And so I'm like, these people not talking to each other. That's irritating. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at our book. I love it. I love it. I might keep it. Shh. The recipient doesn't know it was for them, so I could still keep it and just make them something else. So anyway, we use a combination of everything. This stamp is from Prima. Jamie Doris, the artist. And then the paper pads that we use are from Prima, Die Cuts with a View, and Recollections. All right, so it looks like this. Take Me to the Sea. A blank page. This on here. Collect seashells. And I got this little octopus collecting seashells, right? That's what I put on there. Blank. All the pages that look like this are blank. I won't explain it anymore. I love this page. I was going to cover this whole page up, but the mermaid just, in my opinion, makes the image kind of pop. Really cool. And I don't like silhouettes or all black. Just, you know, like when you have to stamp something that's all one solid color. I don't like that, but that looks good. Yeah. So we got a little pocket here. Some note taking, whatever you want to do. just some little cut aparts. Not really anything, but I thought that would be really cute on here with a little paper clip. Then we put this on here for some more note-taking. Ride the waves, high tide and good vibes. And then on the back, we have this where we made some tags. And this is how it looks on the back. Now, I don't embellish, like over-embellish books. I like to leave it where the person that's receiving it can do that themselves. But in this case, I might be keeping it. I just made a little pocket over here. And I put that little crab right there. And then it says, it doesn't get any better than this. It really doesn't get any, I'm going to have to glue that down. And this is the back. It's all plain. So that is it. I hope that you've enjoyed this. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, happy CREDA.